Alright guys, today we're going to paint our birch tree backgrounds. We're going to get to paint the sky and the ground, and we're going to learn some new painting techniques, new brush strokes, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Okay, before we can start painting, first we have to draw a horizon line. Does anyone know what a horizon line is? A horizon line is the place where the ground and the sky meet. So it can be a straight line or a curvy line. And I drew my horizon line in pencil, and then I'm going to go back right on top of it and actually erase it. So it'll just be a really faint line that I can see, but not one that is so dark that my paint can't cover it up. One really important thing to remember about the horizon line is that all of the bottom of your tree trunks have to be below the horizon line. If you had a tree trunk that came up here and your horizon line was still right here, then that tree would almost be floating in the air. So we have to really make sure that our tree trunks are stuck down really well and that all the tree trunks go down below the horizon line. So I want everyone to just take a second to smooth all their tape down to make sure it's all pressed down, and then draw their horizon line. Okay, so next we're going to add some paint to the background. You're going to have to think about your color scheme. You may want to use blues and greens and purples in the ground, or you might want to use them in the sky. When you put the blues in the sky and the red, orange, and yellow on the ground, it really kind of gives it a fall look, or the mood that this picture might have been taken in the fall. But if you go with the blues on the bottom, to me it almost looks like an icy ground, and then you can have almost a sunset sky. So it's up to you where you use your colors, but we're not going to use all the colors in both parts, and we're going to use different colors in each part. So if you go with, kind of a cool color color scheme in the bottom, then you'll want to stick with the warm colors in the sky. So I'm going to go with that fall look almost, and I'm going to start with a big paintbrush and my yellow paint. So I'll start on my ground. To get the yellow paint going, you have to get some water and just add it to the paint and really just swirl it around until you have a nice little puddle. Now you have to go ahead and make a decision about how your brush strokes are going to go. So I'm going to do all my brush strokes in the bottom, up and down. So I'm going to just start by covering most of the ground with yellow, and I'm going just up to the horizon line and then stopping when I get to the horizon line. Every few brush strokes, you're going to have to make some more yellow paint since we're working with watercolors. So you just dip your brush in the water and swirl it back around. And like I said, I'm using up and down brush strokes. You could go back and forth or across. And we'll look at some different styles of brush strokes in just a couple minutes. Okay, I'm going to dip again, make some more paint. So I like to cover the whole bottom with yellow first, or whichever part I'm painting with warm colors. I like to go ahead and just cover it with yellow. Because you can put as much red and orange on top of the yellow and it'll show up as you want to. But if you started off with orange or red and then you came back and started adding yellow, you'd have a really hard time seeing your yellow because those other colors are just so strong. So now I'm just going to come back and put some orange in some different spots. Right now my yellow paint is really wet and the orange is kind of it's mixing right in. It's not standing out. So I might just give this bottom part a break for a minute and let it dry, work on my sky, and then come back to it. I think that's what I'll do. So I'm going to wash my brush out and start thinking about my sky and how I want to make my brush strokes. Like I said, there's a ton of different brush strokes you can do. These are up and down. This paper shows some different ones. A lot of kids love making circles. These are some horizontal brush strokes. And then there's one up here that almost has a Van Gogh feel with some swirls. So I think we'll do the circles today. Or actually, yeah, let's do the circles. So I'm going to start with some purple paint. I'll get my purple wet, get some more water, and make a nice little puddle. Again, I'm using a big brush, and to make the circle brush strokes, all you do is just twist your brush around. So I'm going to go just kind of randomly all over the paper and do some circles. You have to be careful when you get down towards the bottom, because you want to really get close to the horizon line. You don't want to cross it, because the yellow and the purple really would not mix well together. So we're just going to try to keep those colors separate. Okay, so after I'm happy with my purple, I'll go to the blue. And I know because purple and blue are next to each other on the color wheel, they're next door neighbors, that they are analogous colors and they'll mix really well together. So I'm going to just mix some blue right on top of some of my purple and make almost like an indigo, a really dark blue for some of my circles. Then I'll come back with just some blue ones. I really like how the purple's mixing in with the blue right now. I think that looks really cool. I may give this a little chance to dry and go back down to the bottom again. So let's try this orange again, now that we just gave the yellow just a little time to dry. I have to remember that I was doing vertical brush strokes or up and down brush strokes before, and I want to keep doing that. Whatever you decide to do in the beginning, you just have to keep doing it. It doesn't matter what you choose. You can't really make a bad choice, but you have to follow through and do that the whole time to keep it consistent. It would not look good if you started off up and down and then at the end you did a couple side-to-side strokes or some diagonal strokes. You need to be consistent. So I think that looks pretty cool. Just keep on going until I'm happy with it. Okay, and I'll go back to my sky again. I think I'll do some more blue. I want mainly blue. Okay, so now all my sky is covered and all my ground is covered, so I could call this finished, or I could keep working. I could let it dry a little more and then come back and add just, a few green brush strokes in some of the blue areas to give it another color. I could use a small brush now if I wanted. I don't have to use the same size brush the whole time. So I'm just going to come in and just paint some circles. And it's okay if they're not full circles. I'm just adding a few more details. I could come back with a smaller brush and add some really strong red strokes because I love red. So I can add in some smaller, nice and strong colored strokes. So once all your white space is covered, you are good to go. You're finished, and you can bring your project to the drying rack and celebrate because you did a great job today. All right, I had fun painting with you, and I'm excited to see what you can come up with today.
When the sun goes down, when the sun goes down, last one. When the sun